It seems like this latest large, unaccountable, secret government agency that has been previously caught running drugs, overthrowing governments, and a list and slurry of other immoral, illegal things. It seems like this government agency, the CIA, has their hands in everything, and now including even the Game of Thrones. Jason, I know this is kind of a soft piece. Everyone is playing it off as a little puff piece. They're like, it's so cool and all that. CIA is in Game of Thrones. But let's open up the discussion here because I do definitely believe there does deserve to be had one when it comes to, of course, the CIA and their involvement with shaping film and television with, of course, its history of having filmmakers, producers, actors, and many other people who you would never expect to be CIA to be CIA agents. Now, as we know, the CIA also has an extended amount of control on media, also on government, and now pop culture, Game of Thrones, Instagram. Holy cow, Jason, what's happening here?
Well, yeah, and earlier this year at the Oscars, they were tweeting about Black Panther. So it seems to me there's this PR campaign going on to be hip and cool. And that reached a new level today when Instagram was infiltrated by the CIA. And how great is it that our deputy director is in the show? We're awesome, kids. It's just very bizarre. It's like CIA 2.0 for millennials to try to sell how awesome the agency is, and instead of questioning what they're doing, they're celebrating it, Luke, which is kind of one of their little ploys.
Yeah, they need a lot of PR from all the other things that they did before. But again, this article specifically is talking about how the CIA, this is the start of the article here by The Independent. It reads, the CIA blew the cover of one of its former deputy directors after revealing he had a cameo in the last episode of Game of Thrones. David S. Cohen made a brief appearance as an unnamed resident of Winterfell in season 8, episode 2 of the hit HBO series, where he has been being served soup by Sir Davos Seaworth. Now, of course, David S. Cohen, very high position, by the way, at the CIA from 2015 to 2017. He is now working in the private sector. And of course, this could be, an innocent thing. This could be, or it could be that the CIA extorted the producers of Game of Thrones with their personal messages, or this could be just more kind of underhanded influence, as you just brought up Black Panther, which I think is important to bring up here. Now, again, many people are going to be accusing us here of stretching. I'm going to get to that in just a little bit, but consider this. Black Panther, a movie, of course, where a CIA agent, pretty much saved and played a hero and killed the villain there. That's very important. And then the CIA went on a tweet storm when they're normally very quiet, when they're normally very reserved, they're normally very professional. And we have to understand the involvement of the U.S. government, of U.S. Institutions, of U.S. agencies like the DOD and the CIA have a lot of times used media as a way to gain power. We have seen this time and time again because it's common sense. There's a reason the cigarette industry pays people, especially people in House of Cards and in other shows, to smoke cigarettes. It's a subliminal, subconscious kind of engineering, kind of programming, implanting messages into your head so you go along a certain path. And I believe, according to my opinion, it would be foolish not to believe that government agencies and agencies that do covert work have infiltrated news. Wouldn't be infiltrating pop culture as a way to get their larger messaging across, just like they did in Black Panther, where the CIA guy is a hero. And of course, this implants a lot of images. When people think of the CIA, they don't think of the Contras. They don't think of the government overthrows. They don't think of the torture. They don't think of the illegal stuff. They think, oh yeah, that's that agency that stops the bad guy in Wakanda. That propaganda, I believe, is priceless, and I believe this is why we're seeing such an involvement. Now, whether this Game of Thrones incident had anything to do with it, of course, we do not know. We could only speculate. There was some kind of larger messaging and propaganda that I saw in the latest Game of Thrones episode. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil any of it. That makes me question it. But again, Jason, to me, this is all, again, just my opinion that I think is worth considering and looking into. What do you think about all that?
Well, I think that upon the expansion and acceptance that they're involved in, when you look at what they were doing with Black Panther, they were tweeting out a real versus real. Real is in a movie reel, REEL, versus real, REAL, as in reality. And they were saying, what real technology in Wakanda, such as, I believe, vibranium, sand tables, and holograms, does the CIA have or does exist? And there was a poll. And obviously, we know holograms exist. The previous piece, we talked about sand tables. But I think that it's also being used not only to influence people into thinking, oh, these are the heroes, these are the good guys, but also kind of put technology and new things out into the public eye and arena, not only through the agency, but through entertainment as well. And that's why I thought it was really interesting. We don't know who all the agents are out there, but recently, RTE, which is a huge international network, did a documentary on this priest who was a CIA agent. And the reason that he was recruited as a CIA agent was because he was one of these TV preachers, Luke. He was one of these people that could motivate people in Hollywood. Look at these names: Bing Crosby, Grace Kelly, James Dean, Frank Sinatra. I could go on. Jimmy Stewart, Gregory Peck. All huge names at the time. And he ended up having a long-standing relationship with the CIA, taking their funding, doing their bidding. Why? Because of his media influence with Hollywood stars. Now, the article, and I guess the documentary, goes on to say that the Pope eventually cut him off and said that he had to stop working with the CIA. But this shows the reach of this agency all the way back then in the 60s and how it continues today. Because like you said before, the CIA in Hollywood, the NSA, the Pentagon, to get access to some of the things you need to make these pictures, you have to be involved in these agencies. It's one of the best kept secrets in the entertainment industry, Luke, and it's a secret for a reason. Because if people knew how much they were being manipulated on a daily basis by intelligence agencies through the media that they loved, they may question it more.
Exactly, Jason. And this was in the 60s. Imagine what they're doing now. Imagine how sophisticated it is, especially with the psychological effects of social media. Like, I could just see the CIA like, oh, we could change people's modes and emotions in a flurry. We're just manipulating their timeline. We're manipulating different things again. The power here with social media is absolutely vast. It already has what people call an insurmountable effect, and what many critical people are saying a very negative effect, especially on the psychology of young people as they're developing with, of course, depression, suicide, anxiety, all these other disorders going dramatically up, which many people are directly linking to social media. So, of course, why wouldn't such a powerful, unaccountable secret organization, CIA, get involved with social media? It only makes sense, and it only makes sense that they're trying to be, in the main line to control. They tried to control it with that priest to see where the kind of mainstream culture, where the celebritards, where the actresses and actors were, because they understand that people listen to them. They have power. And if anything has power, it threatens the power that they have. And they want to have an eye on it. They want to control it, because essentially it could always come back and kick them in the butt. And that's why I think we're living in such a culture where I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to think what's on your timeline or what's on your television isn't a form of mind control. Now, of course, I'm not talking about mind control where, you got some guy like waving a thing and snapping his finger. I'm talking about subliminal, subconscious kind of thought pattern recognition that keeps repeating the same kind of internal messages to you that have an effect on your actual decision-making behaviors. And I think there's a reason why we're seeing men presented the way they are in pop culture in Hollywood, especially on TV shows, as dumb, bumbling, stupid, fat idiots that can't be trusted or accountable in anything. I think there's a reason that a lot of things are happening, whether in the private sector or public sector. That's a whole larger discussion. But what do you guys think? I'm more curious. How big do you think the involvement is? Because again, we're just speculating here, and I do believe this conversation needs to be had. So I will definitely look forward to see your comments and your feedback too. What do you guys think? How far does it go? How far are they involved, or is it just a simple, silly thing that's happened because this CIA director has a brother-in-law that has a HBO showrunner. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Jason, do you want to close it off here?
Yeah, I also just want to point out quickly that when you look at Instagram, there are people that have now gained celebrity solely through that platform. And that's another reason I believe that the CIA is getting involved in that. Because with the upcoming generation, YouTubers, Instagram people, they're just as big as the people that were on your favorite television shows and movies. So them moving into these social media platforms, to me, is an extension of their influence on media that controls the minds of the masses. We're not about mind control here. We're about exposing it, and that's why we do 4 videos a day on 2 separate platforms, Pulse Change and We Are Change. Make sure you're subscribed. Check back every day, even if you are, so you can see the new stuff. Watch the stuff, share the stuff, and get out there and be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you all for joining us.